Have you ever glanced at a clock and repeatedly seen numbers like 1111? Or thought of a friend only to receive a message from them moments later? Many people experience these intriguing coincidences and often feel they're meaningful or significant. But have you ever wondered why these experiences feel special or even mystical? Today, we're exploring the fascinating intersection between cognitive science, neuroscience, and probability, revealing why our brains are wired to see patterns and meaning even in the most random events. Humans are inherently pattern-seeking creatures. From the earliest days of our species, our survival depended on recognizing meaningful patterns in the environment. For instance, distinguishing the rustling leaves signaling a lurking predator from harmless background noise was critical. Over countless generations, our brains evolved to err on the side of caution. Better to mistakenly see patterns where none exist than to miss important signals. This evolutionary trait means our brains are exceptionally good at detecting patterns. But it also makes us prone to seeing them, even when they're purely random. Neuroscientists call this tendency apophenia, the perception of connections and meaningfulness in unrelated things. Cognitive neuroscience sheds more light on how our brains handle these coincidences. Our brains operate through predictive coding, essentially constantly making and updating predictions about what will happen next based on prior experiences and expectations. When something unexpected happens, like repeatedly seeing the same numbers on a clock, this triggers a prediction error, causing the brain to become alert and pay extra attention. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to reward and learning, spikes in response to these prediction errors. When we notice something rare or surprising, our dopamine system marks it as significant, enhancing memory and emotional attachment. This biological mechanism explains why coincidences often feel so profoundly meaningful. We're neurologically primed to notice and remember them vividly. But why do some coincidences stand out more than others? Here, cognitive biases come into play, particularly confirmation bias, the tendency to notice and remember events that confirm our existing beliefs while ignoring or undervaluing events that don't. For example, if you believe that 1111 signifies good luck or synchronicity, you'll likely notice each time the clock hits that number, but ignore the countless times it doesn't. Over time, this selective attention strengthens your belief in the special meaning of 1111. Another cognitive bias influencing our interpretation of coincidences is the clustering illusion, which occurs when people underestimate the frequency of random clustering in small samples. For instance, flipping a coin and getting heads 5 times in a row might feel special, yet statistically, it's entirely normal given enough trials. Our brains, however, instinctively assume randomness should look evenly distributed, leading used to perceive meaningful clusters where none exist. Psychologists and neuroscientists have conducted numerous experiments to test our tendency to see meaning in coincidences. One classic example is the birthday paradox. It shows that in a group of just 23 people, there's a 50% chance 2 individuals share the same birthday. Yet, intuitively, this seems improbable. This paradox demonstrates how our brains underestimate the likelihood of coincidences occurring by pure chance. Bayesian reasoning offers another perspective on how we assess coincidences. According to Bayesian probability, we should update our beliefs about the world based on how surprising new information is given our prior knowledge. When we experience a coincidence, Basian logic suggests that if it's statistically rare enough under our existing model of reality, we should revise our belief slightly. For example, drawing 2 identical rare cards consecutively from a shuffled deck should make us suspicious of fairness. But less statistically surprising coincidences, like seeing repeated numbers on a clock, should have minimal impact on our beliefs. The intersection of cognitive biases and Bayesian logic can explain Why some people perceive more meaning in coincidences than others. Individuals high in magical thinking, or those predisposed to belief in paranormal phenomena, are more likely to see meaning in random patterns. This doesn't mean they're irrational. Rather, they're applying a different threshold for what counts as statistically significant or personally meaningful. But what's the practical implication of perceiving meaning where none objectively exists? On one hand, finding meaning in coincidences can offer psychological comfort, reinforcing feelings of connection, significance, or even destiny. On the other hand, it can lead to errors in judgment and decision-making. When people over-attribute meaning to random events, they can develop beliefs that aren't grounded in reality. In extreme cases, seeing too much meaning in random occurrences can lead to magical thinking, superstition, or even conspiratorial thinking. Conspiracy theories, for instance, often thrive on misinterpreting random or unrelated events as evidence of hidden connections or sinister plans. Thus, the same cognitive mechanisms that once helped us survive now have the potential to mislead us. Researchers have shown that people prone to conspiratorial ideation often score higher on measures of pattern perception, suggesting that heightened sensitivity to coincidences can lead to problematic conclusions about the world. This doesn't imply that noticing patterns is inherently negative, but it highlights the importance of maintaining a critical, evidence-based approach to interpreting coincidences. So, how can we strike a balance between appreciating life's intriguing coincidences and avoiding cognitive pitfalls? Psychologists recommend a few practical strategies. First, awareness is key. Simply knowing that our brains are wired to spot patterns and that these patterns aren't always meaningful can help reduce unwarranted conclusions. Second, applying critical thinking can temper instinctive reactions. When faced with a seemingly meaningful coincidence, ask yourself, how likely is this event to happen purely by chance? What evidence exists beyond this single occurrence? Third, consider emotional neutrality. Events that evoke strong emotions or align with personal beliefs will feel more meaningful. Taking a step back to examine these events from a neutral perspective can help keep interpretations realistic. Finally, learning basic probability and statistics can dramatically recalibrate our intuitive sense of what's genuinely unusual versus statistically expected. For example, understanding that rare events, like two strangers sharing the same birthday, are common in large populations can help normalize otherwise startling coincidences. In essence, recognizing that meaningful coincidences often reflect our brain's natural pattern detection mechanisms rather than supernatural occurrences can empower us, rather than diminishing wonder. This awareness can enhance our appreciation for the marvels of cognitive processing and the intricate balance between randomness and structure in our world. At the intersection of neuroscience, psychology, and probability theory, understanding why we see meaning in coincidence not only demystifies experiences, but also enriches our understanding of the human mind. So next time you encounter an intriguing coincidence, appreciate it as a remarkable testament to the complexity and capability of your own brain. No magic required.